Hey guys, it's Hannah, and today I'm coming to you with a video all about some spooky books that I plan to read in the month of October. Now, this isn't a recommendations video because, like I said, these are books that I plan to read, so these are ones I have not read yet. But if you'd like to see some recommendations I have, like Halloween reading recommendations, I did that video last year, so I will leave that video linked on the screen as well as down below so you can go and check it out. But today I have a list of like several books. I don't even know how many it is. I don't think I'm going to be able to get through all of these in October because I'm super busy this month, but I'm really excited about the list. All of them are very like spooky and eerie. Some of them I've heard are very scary. So I'm just really excited. I am just in a Halloween mood. I finally decorated my apartment yesterday, which by the way, if you didn't notice, I'm in my apartment at school right now. I'm not home. That's why my bookshelf's not here. But like I said, I decorated. So I put up some lights, I put up some little like poster things, and I got a little pumpkin. We have Harry sitting right there, and everything is just Halloweenified and I'm living for it. I even got this little spider pillow and he has like moon eyes and I love him, and he sits on my bed now and he's my friend, the only spider I will ever truly love. But without any further ado, let's get into all of the spooky books that I really want to read this month. The first book that I have here is Witchwood by Tahereh Mafi. This is actually an advanced copy of the book, and the book doesn't actually come out until November, and I really think it should honestly come out in October because this is a book about a girl who washes dead bodies, and if that doesn't just like scream Halloween, I don't know what does. I picked up this ARC at Book Expo this year and I've been so excited to read it ever since I got it, but I just haven't had the time yet. I've actually already started it. I read like the first chapter and I really liked that, but I haven't had the time to continue. The main character is also Persian and the entire story is kind of based off of Persian folklore and some like mythology, and I'm so happy to have that rep because I've never actually read a book about a Persian character before, especially in YA, and I just cannot wait to get to this one because I just know it's going to be the perfect kind of like subtly eerie and spooky kind of book. Not necessarily something that'll scare me, at least I don't think so, but I definitely think it will fit the Halloween mood. The next book I have here is one that I've been meaning to read like since last Halloween, but I never got around to it, and it's one that so many people recommend, and this time I think it's one that is actually somewhat scary, and that is Night Film by Marisha Pessl. From what I know about this book, it follows the story of this detective who is investigating the murder of the daughter of this like very famous director. Her death was actually ruled a suicide, but he doesn't actually believe that that's true, and he believes that she was murdered, and it has a lot of like mystery to it, but I also think it has like some sort of paranormal aspects. I'm not 100% sure on that, but I think I have heard that from a couple people. But the super cool thing about this book is that it's told in a very interesting format. So it's told in just regular like narrative, but it also has documents and things that the detective is looking at, and there's emails and like the research that he's doing online and stuff that you can read through as well, which is just super cool. I love whenever a book can have like such a unique format to it and tell a story in a different way. But I've heard nothing but good things about this book from everyone who's read it, and I'm just so excited to get to it. I think I'm gonna read this one around closer to Halloween, if not on Halloween, just because I feel like it's probably along the scarier lines, and I definitely think it'll have that scary, spooky Halloween tone. The next book I have here is another one that's not necessarily scary, but again, we have like a theme of murder and death, and that is Jane Steele by Lindsay Faye. This is essentially like a retelling or reworking of Jane Eyre, and it follows our main character named Jane Steele, who is actually a serial killer, and I have heard fantastic things about this book from one of my great friends, Joss from Squibbles Reads. She absolutely loves this book and raves about it all the time, and I've had it for so long now, and I've been wanting to read it for so long, and I've put it off, but now I think it's the perfect time to finally pick it up. A serial killer story sounds like the perfect type of book to read during the month of October to me, so I'm hoping to get to this one this month, and I hope that I absolutely love it and that it definitely kind of creeps me out a little bit. The next book that I really want to get to is This Monstrous Thing by Mackenzie Lee. Mackenzie Lee is the author of The Gentleman's Guide to Vice and Virtue, which is one of my favorite books that I've read this year, and then when I found out that she had published other books, because I thought that was her debut novel, but I was wrong, I found out about This Monstrous Thing, and then I found out that it was a Frankenstein retelling, and then I knew that I had to read it because that sounds totally awesome. So genuinely, that's all I really know about this book, is that it's just a retelling of Frankenstein, or just kind of like a reworking of it, but I am so excited to read this because I adore Mackenzie Lee's writing and her storytelling, and I'm so excited to see what she will do with the original story of Frankenstein, and I definitely think that this is the perfect book to pick up in October because like Frankenstein, Halloween, you can't have a more perfect match than that. Also, I really love the cover. It's totally scary and spooky and just everything I love about this time of year, and I'm hoping that I absolutely love this book as well. The next book that I have here is The Dreadful Tale of Prosper Redding by Alexandra Bracken. I still don't have a finished copy of this book yet, and I'm very disappointed because I love the cover cover of the finished copy. But nonetheless, I am so excited for this book. I've been excited for it ever since I picked up this arc, and I just haven't had the time to get to it yet, but October is the perfect time to do so. This is actually a middle grade novel, and it's about this boy named Prosper who one day finds out that he actually has a demon living inside of him, and that's because his like great grandfather made a deal with some demon that meant that his family would forever be in servitude to this demon, and that kind of causes some trouble for him. And I've heard fantastic things about the book, and I haven't read middle grade in a very long time, and I've really been wanting to, and I'm hoping that this one ends up being a standout one and ends up becoming a favorite. The next book, or actually collection of short stories that I have here, is Pretty Monsters by Kelly Link. This, like I mentioned, is a collection of short stories that are all just about different monsters or different fairy tales and like folklore about monsters and little stories that are scary and spooky and perfect for Halloween. Joss actually once again recommended this one to me when we were at the bookstore, which is why I picked it up, and I picked it up specifically because I wanted to read it during this month because I think it's the perfect thing to read during this month. I also absolutely love the cover. It is so perfect for this month, and I just love the Halloween aesthetic, and I love how all of these books fit that aesthetic, and just I live during this time of the year. The next book I have here is Stalking Jack the Ripper by Carrie Maniscalco. I picked this book up when I was with Zoe from Read by Zoe in Florida earlier in September. We were both just super intrigued by this book, and we were in Barnes & Noble and they happened to have 2 copies, so we each got one and decided to get them so we could buddy read them. I have already read the first 2 chapters of this book, and so far not much is happening, but it definitely has that kind of eerie vibe to it, so I'm very excited to see how it develops. When I first read the title, I thought she was gonna kill Jack the Ripper, which I was totally on board with, but then I read the back and then it says I was the girl who fell in love with Jack the Ripper, so I don't know how that's gonna work out, but I'm still intrigued nonetheless. Like I mentioned with Jane Steele and Night Film, I'm super into the whole like murder mystery serial killer thing, especially during this time. Like I'm a huge Criminal Minds fan and I watch that show all the time, but I really like also reading books that are kind of like that, especially during this time of year, so I think this one will be perfect for that. All right, and finally, I have 3 more books that I really want to read during this month, and these are the 3 that I think are the highest on my priority list just because I feel like reading a series right now, and I feel like reading something that's just kind of easy to fly through, and that's what I've heard about this series. And that series is none other than the Unbecoming of Mara Dyer trilogy by Michelle Hodkin. Now, I have never read this trilogy, and I don't know why, because it came out forever ago. It came out around the time that Twilight was coming out, or at least that's when there was like all the hype around it, but I feel like this trilogy is such a staple, like classic YA trilogy, and I don't even think I'm actually going to like it, but I just really want to read it. All I know about this trilogy is that it's paranormal, and people say that it's really eerie and creepy and spooky, and that it might scare you, and that's all I want during this month, so I'm so down. So yeah, I'm just so excited to read these books. I definitely think I'll be able to fly through them fairly quickly, and hopefully I end up enjoying them even a little bit, but if nothing else, I hope they just give me that kind of Halloween spooky vibe that I'm looking for, and if they do that, I will be completely satisfied. All right, so that is it for my list of spooky books I want to read this month. I hope you all enjoyed watching this video. Let me know in the comments down below if you have read any of the books that I mentioned in this video. Which ones do you think I should get to first? Which one is the scariest? Because I'll save that one for towards the end of the month. Also, since these are all the books that I'm planning to read this month, I'd love to hear what books you guys are planning to read this month. If you like to read any spooky or scary books during the month of October and around Halloween, I'd love to hear any of your suggestions or anything that's on your TBR so I can start working on my TBR for next year. But that is it for this video. If you'd like to follow me on any of my social media, all of my links are in the description box as always. But thank you all so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you have a very spooky October, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!